x-axis. All right. Yes. Okay. Here's number 1. Are y'all ready? All right, so number 1 says find the y-intercept, the equation of the axis of symmetry, and the x-coordinate of the vertex. So first of all, this is going to be a non-calculator problem. So put on there no calculator, because you're not going to be able to put this in your calculator and graph it. Okay? Very first thing we're going to find is our y-intercept. Do you guys remember how to find the y-intercept? 0 in for x. All right, so back up here to this equation. If I plug 0 in all of those x's, what am I going to get as my answer? -3. That's my y-intercept. Okay? I'm also supposed to find the equation of the axis of symmetry. There's a formula that we used for that. Does anyone remember that formula? What was it? -b over 2a. All right, so let's plug those numbers in. What's my -b? What's b in this problem? -2 over 2 times a, and a is what? 1. When I simplify that, what am I going to get? -1. So my axis of symmetry is -1. And then the other thing I'm supposed to find is the x-coordinate of the vertex. The x-coordinate of the vertex is the same thing as my axis of symmetry. So my x-coordinate is x equals -1. So all of that was my answer for number 1. Okay, now for number 2, we're going to use this information that we just found in order to graph the function. Okay, now we could use a t-chart and find a table and all that, and we will if we need to. But first, let's just label all of this. Okay, I know my y-intercept. My y-intercept is -3. 1, 2, 3. It's going to cross my y-axis at -3. My axis of symmetry is -1. Okay, so I'm going to draw this vertical line because I know that it's going to be symmetric about this line. Now, the other thing that we need to find is our vertex. Okay, the lowest point on this graph. I know the x-coordinate of my vertex. It's -1. How do I find my y-coordinate? If I know that this is my x-coordinate of my vertex, I'm going to plug -1 back in to find out what my y number is. Okay, so we're going to plug -1 into that equation. So -1 quantity squared plus 2 times -1 minus 3. That's going to be 1 minus 2 minus 3. So what's that going to be? 1 minus 2 is -1. -1 minus 3, -4. So my vertex is -1, -4. So I'm going to graph that. -1, -4. There's my vertex. If I know this is my vertex and this is my axis of symmetry, do I have another point somewhere? Where's my next point? Right here? Okay. Is that enough to draw in my parabola? Yeah. So I didn't do enough points to see where it actually crosses the x-axis. We could do a t-chart and find out 2 more points. Okay, but since this 1 and 2, they kind of go together, if you use the information you found in number 1 to graph it, then that'll be fine. And that will be a no calculator part. Questions about that one? All right, so number 3. Determine the maximum or minimum value of 2x squared minus 8x plus 9. So maximum and minimum values occur at the vertex. So we need to find the vertex of this. That formula for the vertex, and again, this would be a no calculator problem. Okay, the x-coordinate of my vertex is -b over 2a. So let's plug our numbers in. negative b, and what is b? Negative 8 over 2 times a, and my a is 2. So that's 8 over 4, and 8 over 4 is 2. All right, so first of all, am I going to have a max or a min in this problem? When I graph this, is this opening up or opening down? It's opening up. And remember, I know that because this number right here is positive. So I'm going to have a minimum. Is my minimum 2, though? They want to know my minimum value. So to find the minimum value, you're going to plug your answer in, your x coordinate in, back into the original equation to get our answer. Let's plug that in. 2 times 2 squared minus 8 times 2 plus 9. We always do exponents first, so that's 2 times 4 minus 16 plus 9. 8 minus 16 plus 9, so that's negative 8 plus 9, so it's going to be 1. All right, so I already know I have a minimum value of 1. So remember, when they have minimum value, find the x coordinate of your vertex, plug it back in, and that's going to be your answer. And then you know whether you're going to have a max or min by if it's opening up or down. Well, we just needed this, the vertex, in order to graph it. So my answer, yeah, number 1, these 3 numbers right here are my answers. Okay, number 3. Solve each equation. If the exact roots cannot be found, state the consecutive integers between which the roots are located. This came from the section where we graphed it to find where it crosses. So this is going to be a calculator problem. And on the actual test, I will say graph and solve. Okay, so this is a calculator problem where we're just going to plug them in. Okay, before I plug number 4 in, you always have to set it equal to 0. So this is going to be x squared minus 2x minus 3 equals 0. All right, so we're going to type that into my y equals. Let's see if I can get a smaller screen. All right, so in my y equals, I'm going to type in the equation that we had, which was x squared minus 2x, what was it, minus 3. Okay, we want our window. I don't know what we need our window, but let's do it from our negative 10 to 10, our standard viewing window. Okay, and then we're going to hit graph. Now, some of these you're going to cross at nice, neat points. Some of them you won't. This one, what do you think my answer is? Okay, it crosses right here at 3 and right here at negative 1. Okay, so we like that one. It crosses at nice, neat points. On my paper, and when you guys are working these, some of these you're going to have to show your work on a separate sheet of paper because you're not going to have enough room. But x is equal to 3 and x is equal to negative 1. So that's purely a calculator problem. Plug it in, see where it crosses. Okay, let's do number 5. Number 5 isn't going to be at nice, neat points. So let's see what it looks like. So y equals, clear that out, x squared plus 4x minus 7. Graph. All right, so we have to go through these calculator steps in order to find this point and this point. Okay, those calculator steps were, do you remember? Second, trace, and we want number 2 for 0 because we want to see where it crosses the x-axis. And then your calculator is going to start asking you questions. It's going to say left bound, so that means either type in a number, we're going to find this point first, either type in a number to the left of it or move your cursor to the left of it. I'm just going to type it in. I'm going to type in -8, enter. Now it says right bound, so type in a number to the right of it. I'm going to type in -4. And then guess, I'm just going to say -4.5 is my guess. Okay, there's my answer, -5.31. Okay, we'll go 2 decimal places. And on the test, I'll tell you how many decimal places to go. It doesn't matter. You can round or not round. So my first answer, -5.32. X equals -5.32. And now we have to go through those same steps again in order to find this point. Second, trace. Number 2 for 0. Now I have to type in a number to the left of this point. I'm going to type in 0. Type in a number to the right of that point. I'm going to type in 3. My guess is 1. And it crosses at 1.32. So on your test, I will say solve by graphing, and you guys will use your calculator, see where it crosses the x-axis. If it doesn't cross at nice neat points, you're going to use your second calculator. All right. Numbers 1 and 2. Solve each equation by factoring. Okay, this will be a, I'm going to let you use your calculator on this. That way you can help find the factors. First thing you have to do on this is set it equal to 0. So I'm going to rewrite number 1 as 3x squared plus 13x, because I'm going to write that one first, minus 10 equals 0. Now this is a problem. Remember when we were learning how to factor, we used our box sometimes and sometimes we didn't? Would I use my box on this one? Do you remember when we use it? Yeah, I always use my box when I have a number in front of this x squared. So first of all, can I factor anything out of these? 3, 13, and 10? Nope. So I'm going to use my box. In my box, my first term goes here, 3x squared. My last term goes here, -10. Multiply those together and I get -30x squared. So I need factors of -30 that will give me 13, a positive 13. How about 15x and -2x? Will those work? When I multiply these together, I get -30x squared. And a 15 and a -2 gives me positive 13x, remember? So these two numbers are going to go in my other two boxes. It doesn't matter which ones. Now I'm going to go sideways and factor anything out that I can. What can I factor out of this one? 5. Right here I can factor out an x. Going up and down I can factor out a 3x. Going up and down this way I can factor out -2. And what's on the outside is what goes in my parentheses. X plus 5, 3x minus 2 equals 0. And don't forget, when it says solve, that means we have to set it each one equal to 0 and tell us, or tell what x is. 3x minus 2 equals 0. So what's this one going to equal? X equals -5. This one, I'm going to add 2 to both sides. and then divide by 3. So x equals 2/3. Okay, are we good with that one? All right, on number 2, what's my first step on this one? Subtract 45. X squared plus 4x minus 45 equals 0. Do I need to use my box on this one? No, because this one's an easy one. Are my signs going to be the same or different? They're different because of this sign. And I need factors of 45 that when I subtract them, I get 4. What is it? 9 and 5. My 9 goes with my 4. Okay, my 9 goes with my 4. My 9 goes with the plus sign, and 4 goes with the minus sign because I need a positive 4. 5, sorry. That's a 5. Now set each factor equal to 0. So x equals -9 and x equals 5.